for joining. As a reminder, we are starting the 2027 Community Development Fund review process. And this year we have a new application software that we're using. And so I thought it would be really helpful for you guys to just go through a quick demo of how to use the system, how to submit your reviews, and we can kind of talk through the schedule and the process as we're doing that. I actually have a recording of the software provider doing the demo. I don't have, since I'm not as familiar with the system yet, I thought I'd just have him do he recorded our staff review session. And so I'm just going to play that for you. And then we can go through, if you have any questions, save them till the end. And I can help walk through any of those questions. And then we'll kind of go through the process after that. So with that, I am going to share my screen and pull up the video. It's about like 10 minutes, I think. Yeah, 10 minutes. So it's pretty straightforward, but he's going to go through kind of like the email that you get, how to, oh, there's McCoy. I'm going to let him in. Hey, McCoy, I was just about to start the recording of the demo that Neighborly did for our staff review scoring demo a couple weeks ago. Or last week, and so what I was saying to everyone is I'm going to play the recording for you guys, and then we're going to kind of, after the recording, we'll go back and I can kind of help reinforce things if you missed something. If you have any questions, save them to the end, and we'll kind of do it that way, just because I'm not as skilled in the system quite yet. So just want to make sure that I am sharing my sound. Okay, I'm going to press play, and can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear the sound?
Okay, welcome everybody. We're just going to cover the scoring for Arlington County on this one. I'll do a brief explanation of who is this random individual telling you this information. I am the client success manager for Arlington County, Virginia, obviously. So excuse the accent, I will try and be slow. I know I've been told I'm extremely British, so I will work on not being too fast on this one, but we're going to go through, explain how the scoring is working, best tips and practices, and what you can do and what you cannot do regarding the scoring. So I'm just going to share my screen. If everyone gives me a cheeky thumbs up when you can see it, we can crack on.
I think we're good.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate it. First of all, before we even get started with this screen you're going to see here, when you are assigned as a reviewer, most of you will have, or if you have been assigned, you will have an email that looks something like this. I'm just going to drag this through here. Let me know if you can see it. And this will basically say action required. Thank you, Joel. Action required, you are a reviewer for a community development fund or whatever program you have been assigned a reviewer for. There's a few programs in Arlington currently. It should be this one you are assigned for. And then you will be just seeing this plain text here just telling you that you've been added as a reviewer for the amount of cases. It may be more than one, maybe several. This is the test, as you can see here. And it will tell you to please log into the reviewer portal and provide a score. And then it will have the link there as well. A little helpful text here that also describes as if you've not used the system before, which most of you wouldn't have, you will need to click register and create a password. And that's how we get on to this page, which I'm going to just minimize that bad boy right there. And then you will see this once you click that link. Now, obviously, yours is not going to be pre-filled. I kind of work for this company, so it's already pre-filled, but yours won't be. You'll have to pop in and get yourself signed up by clicking it. If the system will so oblige. It's already logged me in, so I'm going to just sign back out. And once you click sign up, you have to pop your email and your password in, and then you will be good to go and register. It will send you another link to your email. Just confirming that. Once you've done that, you're all good to go. Any issues with that? I don't think I'm sure we've all run afoul of password problems. This was what this bad boy here is for. You'll click forgot your password, and then it will just ask you for your email. If you have forgotten your password, it will send that to your email address, same as you do for any account you're using this era. it will send you that. We also have some language preferences. With those, English, France, Spanish, more can be added if you speak a different language. Give that a cancel. We have a data privacy policy, which all you'll see on every screen. We have any kind of technical support you may need. So confirmation email, a password reset, an error message. If you're seeing a very odd error message, most likely you'll talk to your admins anyway, but you can use this and it will go through to our client success team under me that directly deals with password resets and accounts being locked, etc., etc. Does it translate applications into the chosen language? Yes, that is correct. It does do that. We also can have that customized, same as the admin portal. So if you need more languages added, drop me an email, Jennifer, and we can get that squared away. If we click update user permissions as well, we have that option, and we have other as well. So you can play with these if you still need to, but they're very rarely used. Usually you guys will just go to your admins, and then the admins will come to me if they can't solve it, and we go from there. So once we have seen that, we will click sign in. Fantastic. Now you have the welcome message, good morning or afternoon. You'll have the blurb up here, which will tell you applications currently awaiting score, and you'll have any action required as well, also labeled on the far right. We go down, you'll see the completed scorings. If you have completed some already, they will be listed here. Obviously, this is a test case, so you won't see a single thing here. And then you have your listed case. So we have a bunch of cases already set up in the system, but the one in particular we're going to focus on is the one at the very bottom that I've set up for you guys to have a look. So let's say this was Elizabeth and she wanted to pop into her cases. She had something to score. She would click right here on this little door. Bam, it's going to pop into your main scoring area. This will be where you do all of your actual scoring. So we're going to go through bit by bit. The summary page, which is the page that you'll automatically land on, will be right here. You have your case ID, and then you have the name of the said case, the program it is, and then where you are in terms of the scoring status. So obviously this will be not yet submitted, you cannot touch this. And then if you just look below here, we're going to have the print options as well. You do that, it will be, again, if we just click onto that, it will show you if you can get a summary, the score sheet, the application, or if you want to do all of them. So you can have the option to print here as well. On our summary page, as you can see, you're going to have the score. Currently it's 0 out of 60, and the status is not yet submitted. It also has the date as well from when we last touched this. And then we square over here, we have the sections. This is how it was set up for you guys to obviously do your scoring. This was giving you the overall summary of the current points awarded, and then the total available points of all of these questions here. Any questions on the signing up and the summary before we crack on with the actual scoring? All right, lovely job, Lee.
We're good.
Cool. So when we go to complete scoring, we are going to see the score report, and this will be the main bulk of what you're focusing on. Before we go through all of these, I will just quickly go over these as well. So this, again, is going to have everything in here, all the stuff that you're required to actually score in terms of the application. Now, let's say you don't have a photographic memory and you want to have a little look at the individual's application before you want to score it. That will be right here. So this individual's test application, you can go through, have a look at all of their answers. Obviously, this is going to be a bunch of me typing test 50 million times on the screen, but you can go through, look at all the options here, see how good you believe their application was, and then go back to complete scoring. Now, if you don't want to jump here, there, and everywhere while you go through the scoring, which I definitely do not do, I click this little duplicate tab button, and you can pop back into here, have the application, and then you can do that. You can also split the screen as you would do with anything else, and then you can be able to have a look at the application while you're scoring it. A lot of people do it that way. A lot of people click through the tabs, depending how they want to do it. So there is a variety of options there. So give that a whirl. So again, go through the whole application. Then we also have the documents. So say you want to check some documents just to make sure about the program. You just want to continue to evaluate. All documents that they have uploaded will be listed here. So you can go through in date order and have a look at all the application, all the documents that they have submitted for their application. So this gives you a full view in sense of their application before or during your scoring process when you're going over their application. Okay, so back to the score main part of the report. You would go in here, give these all a read. I would recommend, it's going to sound very simple, really do double check, triple check some of these, just to make sure you're giving as accurate score as you can, because it's easy to miss stuff, as I've seen with a couple of reviewers and scorers over my time here, to make sure we're reading and grading it how you feel appropriate. So let's say this, for example, this one here is available for 5 points. You said, you know what, I really like this individual, their application spoke to me, and I'm going to give them a 20 out of 5 because I just love them so much. As soon as you do that, it's going to tell you to kick rocks. It's not going to allow that to happen. And it's going to put you down at the maximum points you can give. So please do keep that in mind. These are the available points. There is nothing higher you can give them. 20, not 1,000, not 6. It has to be whatever the available points is on there. So you would go through and you just fill these out as you feel, give them a read. Make sure we're going over the top to the bottom, just 5 to 1. Scroll all the way to the bottom once you've finished and you've done your score and you're content with your score. Then we have our funding recommendation and comments here. Please, we encourage reviewers to leave as much detail as possible. It helps the entire process for the admins too, so you're doing everybody a favor. So please make sure we add as much detail if possible. So add in here, I think, is amazing. There we go. That is how that for some detail sorted. So while you're going through some of your scoring, let's say
Dale, one question Jennifer asked, can admins read all of the reviewer comments? Are we able to see them? Okay.
Yeah, you'll see them on the main admin side of the pool.
Okay.
You'll see them at the bottom of the scoring tabs. So yes, as you go through and you fill out this information, let's say you need a break, you need to go pop some beans and toast on, which is a delicacy, by the way. You can click save and it will save it from when you had last finished. So let's say you don't want to just submit it and you don't want to just go off, you want to come back after you've demolished your beans and toast, have a nice bit of brekkie. You can fill some of this in, you know what, I'll come back in 15, and you click save. And what I'm going to do, like you just did there, I'm going to say your data saved, you click confirm, you go back, and it will be where you last saved it. Simple as that. So pretty easy on here. And then you'll tell you your last update as well, which is great. When you're ready to submit, you click submit as final. And now it's going to say, by clicking submit, you are submitting an official score of insert number here. You will be unable to make any further changes. So please do make sure before we click this, we have filled the entire application out. If you don't want to finish the application at the time, the review and the score, make sure you click save instead. Otherwise, it will show the admins that you have put 10 out of possible 60, and they're going to think you've lost your models. So let's make sure we are adding all of that in. Now, once you do click it, you click proceed, only admins can unlock your score. So if you've made a mistake, please do let them know urgently so they can go address that and get that unlocked for you so you can continue. Now, obviously, I've done 10 out of 60. I'm taking the mic here. So I would get a lovely task from Jennifer, which would on my emails telling me, what am I doing? Please finish the scoring properly, etc., etc. I'm sure she'd be a lot nicer to you guys, so you're fine. Don't worry. I'm kidding, by the way, Jennifer. So once you've done all that and everything is sorted, that is the entire scoring process. Pretty straightforward. Any questions you do have, please do reach out to your admins and they'll reach out to me if needed. You can also use those support options as well to start a screen if you do need some help with any of those. So do we have any questions at all surrounding the kind of scoring process from that standpoint?
All right, so that was our scoring demo. There weren't any questions that anyone had, so thought I would just stop the video and 1 second. Sorry about that. I didn't pause the video, so I had to go back and pause it so Dale wasn't talking to me anymore. So anyway, yeah, so if you I just wanted to take the video down, get us back in the meeting room. Does anyone have any questions about that process? I can kind of walk through it a little bit slower now. If anyone has any, had any sort of things that you wanted me to go through again, Laura?
Yeah, so I think in Zoom Grants, which was our previous software, like you could update your score at any time.
Yes.
it sounds like you need us to have scores in before we meet to discuss. So by having scores in, does that mean that we've entered them, or does that mean that we've actually submitted them?
Okay,
And
great
do you
question.
get, if I've entered my scores but I haven't submitted, are you able to see that I've done that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, that's a great question, and it kind of gets back to the question that Bryant had before. So essentially, and so I'm going to actually pull up. I have a PowerPoint just because it helps my brain kind of walk through things. So the way that we're approaching the review session this year is we're not going to be interviewing applicants. In the past, we've sort of done these proposal presentations where we have the applicants come in and kind of make their case for their application. Just given some of the feedback that we heard from both the review committee, but also applicants in the spring, we decided we're going to try something a little bit different, and we're going to kind of move to this review session format. So what we've done is we've split the applications out by kind of high level categories, and I sent you the list earlier today in a PDF. It was attached to the email that I had sent. And essentially each evening there will be like a certain theme. And there's like 10 or 11 applications that are kind of we'll be discussing each night. When you're in Neighborly doing your scoring, my recommendation would be to go through, fill out your score sheet and click save. We can see your scores. That will be considered your preliminary score. You can submit it then if you like. If you're very confident in your score, feel free to submit it, and we can still go back and open it up for you later. It just requires us to do that on our end. We can't, you wouldn't be able to do it yourself. So it's kind of up to you how you want to approach that. My recommendation would probably just be to save it, just because it's easier if you do want to make any changes. But this is kind of the process that I think worked out the best. So essentially, we're gonna be discussing the proposals each Wednesday. We're gonna need your preliminary scores, so for you to have entered at least a score into each scoring category by the day before, by 5 p.m. the day before. That just gives us some time to pull together what we're calling a score sheet that we'll be able to use for our discussion on the evening of the review sessions. Does anyone have any questions about that in terms of process? If you want me to go back and show you how to save again, I can also do that. Good. Okay. Awesome. Go ahead, Robert.
I'm ready to do it.
Okay. So as far as the kind of format that we're going to be using, we're still going to do kind of an overview of each of the applications. We'll kind of go through the very high level highlights, kind of what we pulled out, and we're going to have the summary sheet, which by the way will be attached in the documents section that I can show you that again. But it'll just kind of go through the very high level summary of the application. And then we're actually going to pull up the score sheet to talk through as a group. So as you can see here, this is just an example. I just kind of made this up, but essentially this is each, if you can see the screen on the left-hand side, these are each of the scoring criteria. And it's kind of split between, the community need and program overview, organizational capacity and experience, evaluation, and then the budget at the bottom. And so you'll actually be able to see each person's score on the screen, and then we're going to sort of highlight where some of the outliers are. So as you can see, there are some here that, were a little bit higher than others, and it's not, no one's going to be called out for what their score is. It's just an opportunity for you to say, my score is a little bit higher than most of the other people. I wonder why that is, and it kind of helps to prompt a conversation as to why that is, or maybe you missed something and it kind of can come up naturally in the conversation. So we're thinking that'll take We're hoping that'll take about 15 minutes per application. It might take a little bit longer the first, as we're sort of getting into the swing of things. But I've been part of review sessions where this has been the format, and as you get used to this format, it kind of starts to go a little bit quicker. And then the other thing that you'll be able to do is kind of change your score on the spot. So if you say, you know, I want to change my score from a 2 to a 3, we can then go in on our master spreadsheet and then make that change for you. Does anyone have any questions for that? I'm also going to just you know, for the evening of, we'll have some, you know, prompting questions that we'll try to pull out some conversation, because I think one of the things we're trying to do a better job of, in addition to, you know, having a little bit more transparency and, you know, behind the actual funding recommendations, we also want to provide, you know, more succinct and usable feedback to the applicants. And so these discussions are really, you know, we're going to be taking notes, and it'll be helpful for us to hear your feedback so that we can then share that summary with the applicants after the fact. Anyone have any questions about any of that?
Not yet. None so far.
Okay. So yeah, this is just a kind of a summary. You know, we're going to kind of go line by line. We'll focus on the merits of the proposal, pros and cons, kind of talk through maybe why scores are a little bit different. You can ask clarifying questions. Maybe someone heard something that you didn't catch, or read something in the application that you didn't catch, and it's just a good thing to say, oh, well, you know, I didn't read that. That's really helpful to know. You'll be able to decide if you're okay with your individual score and make changes on the spot. So this kind of gets back to what we just talked about. Make sure you're saving your scores. You know, I won't be able to see anything if you don't save it. So it's really important. That's one thing that's not as great about Neighborly as Zoom Grants was, where Zoom Grants would automatically save any changes you made on the screen. Neighborly does not do that. So you really have to make sure you're clicking that save button anytime you want to leave and come back to your score sheet. If you do submit it as final, as Dale was saying in the recording, and you do want to make a change, just feel free to email me or Zena. We can pop that back open for you. It supposedly is very easy to do, so we will get that done. My recommendation, just for, you know, your brain space sake, is to review applications weekly. That's kind of how I generally approach it, is kind of review the chunk of applications that we'll be reviewing that week, so that I'm not kind of mixing things up in my head. And the other thing that I wanted to make sure that you were aware of is in the documents section. So this is one of the applications that I'm showing on the screen now. If you go to the documents section, at the bottom, we've already started to upload subject matter expert questionnaires and final reports. So this one is a subject matter expert review for one of the applications. And so this is generally what you're going to be getting for this. It's a little bit more robust than we've provided in the past, but it kind of goes into a little bit more detail about, you know, certain aspects of the proposal that someone who's a little bit more familiar with the type of program or organization would be able to provide. So this one in particular is from Arlington Public Schools, and they're just kind of talking a little bit more about the applicant and their program. So you're welcome to review those in advance, and in case that would help you with your review. But these will also be printed on each Wednesday review session, so you'll be able to have those in front of you while you're reviewing. We're also going to be uploading the summary sheets and the final reports into this document section as well. And again, all of that's going to be printed for you on the night of. The other thing that I wanted to point out was the leverage score. That is another element of the evaluation criteria. It's an administrative score, so you don't provide any input on that. It is a calculation that we make based on the total program budget and their community development fund request. That is going to be viewable in it's not there yet because we're having some issues on the back end, but it's going to be in the budget section of the application as a read-only field that staff will be entering. It's also going to be on the summary sheet, so you'll see it there. And essentially, it's going to be added on top of the average score at the end for each applicant. So just keep that in mind when you're reviewing. So the other thing that I wanted to point out was that, because we're kind of doing this a little bit differently this year, you're going to be saving your preliminary scores. We'll be able to see that each week, but then your final scores, the scores that you submit as final, are going to be due by Friday, November 21st. And that's just going to give us a couple weeks to put together the final score sheet that we're going to be using when we do the proposal ranking in December. So just keep that in mind. You're going to have some time to kind of think things through and really make sure that you are okay and good with your scores that you're submitting. So that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want me to go through anything else again with regards to Neighborly? How are you guys feeling about this new system?
I'm ready to try.
Okay, good. I like to hear that. Oh, looks like McCoy's already in and ready to go. That's awesome. Good to hear. And yeah, if anyone has if you get in there and you're running into problems, you can't figure out where to find something, just email me, email Zena. We're still kind of learning things as well, but we've been in there for a few months, so it's kind of we're a little bit more familiar, and so I want to make sure that we're able to provide the assistance if you guys need it.
My biggest problem was trying to sign in it said didn't have an account, trying to put a password and stuff in, but that's about it.
Okay, yeah, so that was he kind of went over that in the beginning, but basically
Yes.
You will have seen when you were assigned the applications, you will have gotten an email that kind of looks like this, has
Yes.
all of the applications. At the very bottom, you just need to make sure that you click on this link, because this will take you to the main login screen, and then you have to make sure you sign up for an account. So all you have to do is put in your information, create a password, and then you should be good to go, because the system knows that you've been assigned as a reviewer.
Yes. All right, thank you.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I think we can probably.
Caitlin,
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah. Is there any this is my first time reviewing grant applications in a public government setting. I've done 7 in a private setting. Is there any resources that that's available? I know we still need to do my training, but I just want to know, just so we're not delaying the scoring, is there any reference guides that are available?
So my recommendation would be to look at the notice of funding availability, and so I will make sure that I get that, send out a copy of that to everyone. I know that I've sent it before, but I'll just put it at the top of your email. And then I would also suggest that you look at the evaluation rubric. And it's on the score sheet, so it's there, but it kind of gives you a sense of what's considered a 5, what's considered a 4, what's considered a 3, what's considered a 2, what's considered a 1 for each scoring category. And the advice that we've tried to give in the past is, as long as you're being consistent in how you're reviewing across the board, as long as the 5 that you give one application is considered a 5 for the next application review, that's what's important. It doesn't really matter if your 5 is different than, Link's 5, because you guys you're applying it evenly across the board. So I think as long as you keep that in mind and you kind of look at some of the background documents, you should be good to go. But we will definitely get your training scheduled. I know that I've been waiting to kind of coordinate with you and Liz. So I'm going to email you guys after the fact and just make sure that we get something set up in the next week or so.
Right, thank you.
Laura, did you have a question?
Just a comment. My recommendation for you, Bryant, and I guess anyone who hasn't done this before, is read a couple of applications before you start scoring, because that kind of gives you a sense of sort of where things are at, so that if you happen to review a really, really strong one or a not very strong one first, it doesn't kind of influence everything that you review moving forward. I mean, obviously you could score it and then go back and update it too, but I kind of like to read a couple of them to figure out where I'm at before I start scoring.
Yeah, that's good advice for sure. Because yeah, the other thing is that some applications can vary in sort of quality and content. So it's good to kind of read a couple and kind of see where you are with what they're presenting. Any other questions? Great. Well, thanks everyone. We're really excited to kick off the review cycle again. I will also note that just a reminder that I didn't have on the screen, but I just want to make sure that everyone is, is ready. We do have to be in person each week in October. We cut it down to 4 weeks, so hopefully that I know in the past we've been doing 5, so hopefully 4 is a little more manageable for folks. We will be feeding you, and Zena will be getting that information if she hasn't already. Get that those orders out to you as soon as possible. So if you are going to be coming from work and you aren't going to be able to stop anywhere on the way, please take advantage of that, because it's free for you. So yeah, and if you're not able to make one of the reviews evenings, please let me know. It's helpful for our planning purposes. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you again. We're really excited, and I guess we will see everyone on October 8th.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
you.
Talk to you later.
All right. Review.
Bye.